Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
Well, this is another Mercy TV COVID episode.
Hello, welcome to Mercy TV, your source for news and information on the cannabis issue as that issue unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings. I'm Perry Normal, along with Patient Resource Coordinator Sonny.
Hello.
And producer PK behind the camera there. You'll see him, trust me. We'll be hosting this segment of Mercy TV. Want to take a moment and say hello to our peanut gallery?
Hello, my friends.
Off camera.
And I'll be right in front of the camera in a second. Thank you. We just came back from the Capitol building. We were on Center Street and Summer. We're at the 15 or plus March citywide nation.
International.
Yeah.
The Global Marijuana Marches, also known as the Million Marijuana Marches and the Global Cannabis Liberation. This event takes place in hundreds of cities around the world every year. It takes place on the first Saturday in May, which we refer to as J-Day. This year, 2021, J-Day fell on May 1st. Yay!
Yay!
And we gathered our troops, went out there and rallied for a while like we could. And if you want to know more about the Global Marijuana Marches, visit our website at mercycenters.org.
Well, and it was a great march, and there was, it's just the fact that we was able to get down there and be able to get the information out to people to let them know, there's more states still. To this day, we still got states having to get legal.
Yeah, we've had a few more states added, but it's still not enough. Federally, it's still illegal, although they do have a few bills in going through to A, decriminalize it, and B, opening up the banking industry for the states that have legal cannabis businesses. So there is hope for folks in the immediate future and in the long term. I mean, we could still end cannabis prohibition here federally.
Once Measure 99 passed, the medical department got really hurt the patients. Can you pay $400 for an outside grow site?
Right, yeah, and it's a sad trade-off that while there's been recreational across the U.S. and several more states have taken up the medical cannabis cause, here in Oregon we've actually lost ground with our medical cannabis laws. And as PK was saying, it's way expensive, the most expensive in the nation. The grow limits are atrocious, but what's worst, I suppose, is what they put the growers through. Even a basic grower for a patient or two, God forbid. Just a horrendous amount of paperwork and requirements that aren't really necessary, and they're actually meant to kill the fact that we were having a number of growers here in Oregon until they put this badass law in. And it really would behoove the patients in Oregon to get the law changed back to what it was. And we're not even talking about adding conditions and so forth. And I know that with it legal for adults, it makes it medical for everyone.
Well, how important, when we have patients, that when we talk with patients, how important it is to keep the program going. You know, everybody can say, oh, well, they can just grow it, but it's still important because we have patients that need more than just
Right.
more plants.
So there's the 6 plants, which is one benefit for the medical cannabis patient. There's also more modes of the cannabis medicine allowed for the patient community, particularly in concentrates and so
Well,
forth.
and like our patient, though, he understands, you know, he understands he needs more than what they're giving out. He needs a card.
And it's not a big benefit for a lot of people, but the Oregon Medical Cannabis Card has proven to be give folks a lot of reciprocity when they're traveling in other states. You know, so there's benefits to the Medical Cannabis Card and program that would be more and more beneficial if folks were to organize and put the law back to what it should be, you know, where a grower can grow for multiple patients and doesn't have to have the tracking of every single little bud, you know.
Needs to be able to have that card, though. It's important, and the patient shouldn't have to pay for it. You know?
Well, we got to get more growers in the program to get more patients, and to do that, we got to change the laws for certain.
And that's the deal, you know. The patient shouldn't be responsible and having to come up with all of it.
And to change the laws, we got to change the attitude. You know, there's all this reefer madness that was going about when
How
they
does
put
the
through the
medicine
change.
work for you, sir?
The what?
The medicine, how's it working?
What medicine?
Well, when you do the medicine, how's it doing?
Works
when,
great.
When you eat it, it's doing the good pain, you know?
I eat a lot of it. It works great.
Well, that's why you need a card, you know, and that's why.
What I really need is a one-time disability card that allows me to go and get a card and not have to go back every stinking year
Right, you know.
to give this guy money just to do the exact
Say,
same
yep,
thing
you're still disabled.
he did yesterday.
You know, it's yeah, that's a point that's been made by many a patient.
It's ridiculous.
You know, and
My sister,
a valid one for certain.
she's a card member also, but she's in Florida. And twice a year she has to go and get her card renewed.
Huh?
And she's paying $200 each time.
So they're really getting it.
You know, and it's egregious that they're being required to do this, not because of any real medical basis. You know, this is purely a political thing.
It's a money thing.
Well, money, yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's 100%.
So we can say we're getting very good, and it's you know, we're doing good, you know.
well, you're not. These folks aren't registering with the state because they're going to do anything medical or health oriented with that information or with them. You know, it's not a matter of cannabis is medicine, and we're going to track the how it works for you and all these other things to better do the program, to better serve the patients. They register because it's evil and dangerous, and you have to be watched.
Well, and that's why it's so important for the people that are in the hospital. When you are, you know, at home and you're using the cannabis, you know, whether you're eating it or whether you're rubbing it on topically or whether you're drinking it, you know, all of these things are important, you know. I mean, I do it all, you know. I'm sure you do it all, you know. I mean, and it's hard sometimes to keep track of it all. I had a couple of my family members asking me about that the other night, and I told them, you know, when I went like this, and they go, "Oh, what are you doing now?" I said, "You know what? You know, you want me to keep track of this, you want me to keep track of that, you want me to keep track." And I said, I don't even know how to use the phone. And now you want me to keep track of that. And then now I got to keep track of how to use the phone, and then and I started walking away. Where are you going now?
Mm-hmm.
I turned around and walked away.
Okay.
You know?
Not the best discussion, but you know,
Well, no,
people have
see,
these conversations.
You know, I
Yeah.
understand, but cannabis is good medicine, and this is what we use. Cannabis is good for everyone. Cannabis is good medicine for all of us to use.
Right. And you know,
Cannabis,
it.
cannabis is good for everyone
Right,
to
well-
use, and everyone should be able to use it, and that's why it's important to vote and make sure that everyone is voting and know what their senators and their legislators and where they stand with the cannabis
Mhm.
and what they know, how they use it, and what they're doing with it. It's so important, you know, if they're all bagging on them and not letting them use it. And
Well, it's a lifesaver for a number of folks.
quality of
You
life.
know.
Yeah.
And just like
Can't tell you how many people lives it saved since I started smoking.
Well, how well, and you guys,
And you don't have to smoke it to get the
That's
benefits
right.
of it.
well, no, and I've smoked a little bit here while we've been talking, a couple puffs, and it's made my leg feel so much better, and it's made my wrist feel so much better, and it's just taking a couple puffs, you know,
Mhm.
and that's great, you know, and these are things we haven't had to take no pills, you know, and everybody's taking all those narcotics, and people get, you know, the narcotics, they're bad for them.
Mhm.
I mean, they need them sometimes.
right. So there's a good point to bring up about cannabis, in that it doesn't hurt folks. It's benign. You know, all this reefer madness nonsense that was the basis for this bad law is the only thing keeping prohibition up, keeping the cannabis program from being what it should be, and keeping all the folks who could benefit from it from benefiting from it. You know, that's the basis of its stigma, is a pack of lies. You know, much like it was seen in the old movie Reefer Madness. You know, now we saw in previous years with Oregon legislature,
Is that your new
with
card?
federal legislature, with other states, the governor of Nebraska, I think it was,
Did you
was
have to
talking
give
about the
yourself permission to grow
medical
here?
law coming in,
Did you have to write yourself
and was
a
saying,
letter?
"Oh, children are gonna die if we allow marijuana." You know, it's like, oh, come on,
They didn't
really?
ask.
You know. So we have to get out and educate the people and counter all this reefer madness nonsense. It's still being projected.
We have more states getting legal, and if you know those people in those states, please give them a call. We want the people with the education getting educated and letting them know, hey, we know that medicine is good. And hey, you know what? Cannabis is like one of the best. We know that, hey, we're there. We're letting people know that we're there. And we're trying to educate, and we're there with you. And let them know that, hey, other people, sometimes they don't realize, oh yeah, because you know what? People are still scared that they're going to lose their job. Because if they do anything with cannabis, they're going to lose their job.
Mm-hmm. Well, that still very much happens. You know, that's part of the. As we had one of the signs on our march, a global marijuana marches, just say no to medical cannabis discrimination. You know, and a lot of folks are saying, "Oh, you can't be around children." You know, if you're a patient, medical cannabis patient. You
Well,
know,
we heard
Well, that's
over
There we
the
are.
news that the smell of the cannabis was offending some people. They were right across the big grow site, and they were bitching about it because of the generators
Making the sound.
making the sound and the smell of the cannabis.
Right. Well, and I appreciate that's not the favorite smell of everybody. Just like some folks don't like the smell of brewing coffee, and other folks are quite happy with it. But to allow that to go further and to say, oh, if you can smell it, it's like the same as smoking it, and my kids are going to get to be addicted to marijuana because of the smell of it, or something like that, you know. That's where it's wrong. That's a nonsense. That's the kind of reefer madness crap that is being spread to keep prohibition in place and those other things.
Well, yeah, it's hard to believe that the alcohol department is in control of the recreational cannabis, why it should be the agricultural department, because cannabis is a plant. Unless they were making a wine or a whiskey out of the cannabis plant, which is possible. Yeah.
They do it in India. Have a
Back
nice
to who
formula
is
there,
in
I'm
charge
sure.
of your
Recipe.
medicine? Who is in charge of your medicine? Can you write and find out who is in charge of your medicine?
Yep.
Everybody should write a letter and find out, or ask your doctor, who is in charge of your medicine?
An interesting question.
Well, when he comes back and then find out that the alcohol and tobacco is behind it and da-da-da-da-da, oh, you can thank the Mercy Center and, watch, oh yeah, back to what we was talking about earlier about social media, you know?
Right.
Oh yeah, social media, that one, you know? Do a social media, how do they do those things, you know?
All right.
Well, because that's how they do it, the social media.
And some folks have, and they've had great success. We just need to keep it up and turn it into action, like people actually registering and voting. And voting is going to become even more important all across the board. Pretty much all the issues that we're dealing with are going to require people registering and voting and getting everyone they know to do so also.
And renewing their license. I just got my card back from renewal. I've been a patient for many years, over a decade or so. Not since the program started, but it's a lot of changes went through the program. And as a patient, I can have 6 mature plants. I can have 12 immature plants, 36 immature plants under 24 inches. Way back when we had a rule that they were calling it a little plant. It all depends on your lighting. A mature plant. Once it's over 12 inches, it was a mature plant. With no flowers or no pollen balls on it.
You know, again, wasn't done on a horticultural basis. It wasn't done on a basis of anything other than brute force applied by someone who is actually non-sympathetic, anti to the thing, you know,
And
wants to make it restrictive and
Back to this having to go to court and get this
so
all
it doesn't
done in
apply,
court,
you know. It's-
this one right here, the group site.
The grow site is located at a patient's residence where the patient or the patient's designated primary caregiver produces marijuana. This includes the 4 personal recreational marijuana plants permitted under the Oregon revised statutes.
Next one.
The grow site location is within city limits and zoned residential. The grow site is within city limits but not zoned residential, or the grow site is outside city limits. Then you can have 48 mature plants. But you still got to do the Oregon reporting and tracking.
You have to do all that paperwork for those extra cards.
You've got to have
Yeah.
an internet connection.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to do software.
Well,
It's, not for everybody, and it's made, again, to be to cut people out of the program because it's evil and dangerous, and you've got to watch every toke these little soon-to-be monsters take.
Every leaf and stem.
It's outrageous. It costs people too much, and it's a waste of people and money and everything else.
and it has nothing to do with us as far as patients, their medicine, and them and their quality of life, and what it has to do with the condition and what's wrong with them. And what we're trying to do here is their life and what they're doing. People are having a bad day. The doctors are trying to hey, they're trying to help cure what's wrong with them. We're trying to help people come. I understand people come and ask me if I'll go to the doctor with them and help them with, their doctor, and, it's all good. If you need help, I'll go to the doctor. I'll go to the doctor with you. I've been to so many doctors with people. We do so much with people. These are the things we do, Barry.
Right.
We just want to help people.
People in the hospital, please talk to your doctor about using cannabis. You don't have to smoke it. It's an easy recipe to make up a healing oil. Many different types of oils you can use. So eating it is beneficial because it goes through your total digestion system and into your internal organs. So
The person, the individual, and the condition, and what is going on, and whether you can eat, whether you can drink, whether you can do some topical, actually like some RSO, or some of the oils like you was making. What can you do? Do you want to eat some cookies? What do you want to do? You want to make
Teas,
some bread?
tinctures,
You want to do,
poultices, body rubs, balms.
do you want? A lady was talking about some of those beads that she was putting in the bath with her. She asked me if I wanted to do some. I really didn't.
Do they work?
Well,
I'm just saying, if they work, fuck it.
well, they probably do.
All right,
gotta
well,
try it.
we've got a few minutes left here, so let folks know that this has been Mercy TV. Action item of Mercy, the Medical Cannabis Resource Center, and you can find out more about us at mercycenters.org.
Thank you, CCTV, and all the people at CCTV.
Yep.
Right? You help make this happen.
We have so many blessings, and we just appreciate all the people there, and and Sam and Henry and all the people. And
Well, for CCTV for letting us be a long time show, my garden. Thank you for Dr. Lebec, Nurse Ed, Shauna, Mike, Grandma Janet, everybody. Please have fun, and if you can, go fly a kite and enjoy the breeze.
be safe, and please, the guidelines that they're setting up with everybody during this pandemic, please everybody do the guidelines. I hope everybody's being safe. Everybody's families need the guidelines for a reason,
And everybody, at the very least, register, vote, and get everyone you know to do so also. Thanks a
And
lot.
renew your card.
We'll see you next time on Mercy TV.
Thank you.
Ciao.
And thanks to our peanut gallery for being here and lobbying those
Yes,
little.
thank you.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.